Hello, St. Paul. This is another installment of our spiritual disciplines practices, and this one is taking us outside. I am at the Prayer Labyrinth in Laytonsville. It's behind St. Barth's Church. If you park in the parking lot in the back, you can see it from there. It's really beautiful. Prayer Labyrinths are a practice of prayer in the Christian church that popped up around the 12th century, so in the 1100s, and they actually point to another spiritual discipline called pilgrimage. We don't really uplift pilgrimage as a spiritual discipline that often, but there's some importance to that. So pilgrimage is when you go to a holy site, a space of special reverence. We think about the Holy Land, going to Israel and Jerusalem and walking where Jesus walked. And the intent is that they represent our journey towards God. And I think as you'll find, as you journey to the center of the labyrinth, it's not meant to confuse you, it's not meant to be a maze to be figured out. It's meant to be something you do in your own time, at your own pace. It's very easy to get to the center, there's no tricks. But the journey towards the center of the labyrinth is meant to represent those things that get in our way, the journey to God. And sometimes you're really close and sometimes you're very far. And sometimes you don't know why you're going the wrong direction, and suddenly you're there and you don't even realize it. So a good thing to do if you come and do the Prayer Labyrinth in Laytonsville is to have a verse in mind about that journey. Psalm 23 offers a really good one. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for your rod and staff comfort me. That's a good verse to keep in mind as you travel. So on the way into the labyrinth, you're struggling with those things in your life that maybe are getting in the way of your relationship with God, situations in your life, or maybe difficult attitudes, or even just a sense of doubt. And then when you get to the center, that's meant to be a space of celebration that you are in the presence of God. And so think about a verse or a saying, kind of like centering prayer, that reminds you of that love, of that presence of God. A good one that I think of is in Luke 17, when Jesus says, the kingdom of God is within you. And then as you leave your prayer labyrinth, spend time in the center and enjoy that space. And then as you leave the prayer labyrinth and exit, you also begin to lift up those things that you're going back into the world towards. Just like any of our other prayer practices, we go back into the world. So start thinking about those places where God might be present. Think about those things that are going to be challenging and how the presence of God speaks to us there. Maybe the prayer labyrinth with all the bricks and stuff is not your style. I would suggest that we could practice this sort of prayer pilgrimage in places like Rachel Carson Park, where you walk a trail and you could just pick a spot that you're going to rest in, and you spend the first half of the walk considering those things in your way, and you spend some time in the center, and then as you leave, you consider those things you're going towards. What I think is really cool about prayer labyrinths is that it is a physical representation of a spiritual occurrence. As Christians, we don't believe that we're holy spiritual beings or holy physical beings, but that just as Jesus was the Word made flesh, that our life is both, and both connected, that we embody spiritual practices and do the walk so that you have one to meditate through or pray through, and I'll pause in the middle and walk my way out if you're someone who can't get out of the house for one reason or another. But I would highly encourage you, if you can, to go ahead and try this one in Laytonsville, or like I said, find a good place to do a walk. It's going to be about a 8-minute walk, so I'm going to be silent the whole time, and we'll pray together. Thanks, everyone.